What's up, guys? Let's talk about what if. This is the gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. And I had a chance to watch Marvel's What If, the first episode. Okay, the first episode concerned Captain America, the First Avenger. Of course, it gave it a little flip because of it's what if. You know, it's a series that dares to imagine what if the stories that you know took a different turn. Okay, so this is based on a comic that came out many years ago. I maybe a couple of them. I actually have one big compilation volume somewhere around here, but I was never too much into what ifs. I mean, it's kind of like in life. You know, I was raised by a mom who, you know, she was so annoying. Everything was woulda, coulda, shoulda. You know, she never, unless it actually happened or was happening, you know, she always dismissed everything, you know, so I guess that's kind of where I get that from a little bit. What if? It's kind of like multiverses. I've talked about before how I don't appreciate multiverses because it really just breaks all the rules and it doesn't really matter. So what the fuck is the point? All right, so I figured anyway, I would watch this because these days it seems like the only way you're going to get a story that breaks out of the narrative, ironically, is by going in a what if direction. You know, going in, it doesn't really matter, you know, so you might as well just go on and tell your fucking story and don't worry about how it fits into anything. So, Lord be damned when it comes to what if. So, I watched this, right? And it takes that, story of Steve Rogers or Captain America, the First Avenger, and it basically just gives it to this Carter woman, okay? So Peggy, you know, Peggy Carter. So I think the defining moment is that she decides not to leave the room when Steve is about to go and get the serum injected into him. And, you know, so her not leaving the room means that she's there and Steve Rogers ends up getting shot. All right, he gets shot. Now he can't get into the chamber or whatever to give him the serum, and that means that the serum is going to go to waste. Well, somebody has to get the vaccine. So, I mean, the serum. So, because we don't want all that money to go to waste that you spent on the vaccine. I mean, serum. So you might as well put it into her. You know, doesn't matter if she's pregnant. Doesn't matter if she's a child. She's going to get this because she doesn't want that vaccine to go to waste. I mean, serum. Okay, so she gets into the chamber, gets the serum, and basically she comes out looking like a slightly less masculine version of Kathleen Kennedy. Okay, something more akin to maybe Caitlyn Jenner. Okay, but I will say that I didn't have that much of a problem with her masculine appearance. I mean, Steve Rogers got more masculine when he went in. He was a little twerp. So, okay, so she turned into a transsexual. That's fine. I mean, we accept that these days, right? It's a good thing. Now she can compete in the Olympics with women and all that stuff. So, there she is. So, she comes out and she's bigger, you know, she's stronger, she's faster, you know, she's doing everything basically that Steve Rogers did, but better. I guess that's the what if, because if you ask me, what if is a question. I've always understood this to be like a question of what would happen to this person's lasting legacy were this thing to occur, you know, or a certain occurrence. What would happen if this didn't happen or something like that? So the imagination should run wild, right? I would expect that it's not just a matter of she would just do what Steve Rogers did, you know, and be better at it. I would think that she would make her own way, like that particular timeline would splinter off and it would have infinite different ramifications. You know, it's not just that she would be the first Avenger. Maybe she wouldn't, maybe the Avengers would turn evil. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? You guys are staying on the beaten path. It's like, I always understood that the point of what ifs was to go wild with the possibility. You know, and this one was very tame because she just basically did what Steve Rogers did, but did it better. And of course, Steve Rogers didn't die. He was still there, and he got to be the man that I guess he still could be because he still had the heart of a hero. So Tony Stark's father went and made him, I guess that was the first Iron Man suit. So he became that, you know. So you know, basically, I'm not going to say that this thing was like crazy woke or anything, even though it was generously injected with women's rights issues and concerns and stuff. But I'm willing to give that a pass because back in like what are we talking, like 1940 something? Back in 1940 something, this actually would be a real concern, right? So why not? Why not represent the way that it should have been back then? See, that's the problem that I have with woke shit now, currently, because they act like, and you've heard me say this before, they act like history never happened. So if you take this moment in history, then of course, women's rights or, black people's rights, if you were in the 60s, you would have to represent that as it was back then. So there is no such thing as woke when you're telling a story that takes place back in the fucking 30s or 40s. You know what I mean? This is part of the reason why I believe that the Fantastic Four should actually be a period piece, and they should actually come into being in the 50s or the 60s, because all of them, their names, Mr. Fantastic, the Human Torch, the Thing, the Invisible Girl, all of those things are indicative of the times when they were actually conceived, especially the Invisible Girl, because she felt invisible. Back then, she was only allowed to use her powers to protect herself. You know what I mean? It wasn't until later in her history that she learned how to go on the offensive and become a very, very powerful, if not the most powerful member of the team. But you would have to show her coming into her own. So why not have that start back when she would have been a scared little girl? You know what I mean? But getting back to this, like I said, I don't have much of a problem with the way that it all went down. This Captain Carter, she should have had a mask. Like I said, these are just things I noticed. I don't know why she was just running around with her full Caitlyn Jenner thing happening, but she should have had a mask, and also, she did get to save Bucky, so they didn't show how that would impact the history of the Marvel Universe, because if Bucky got saved, then what the fuck? I mean, he's not going to become the Winter Soldier or whatever. And why did he look like Chris Pine more than he looked like Sebastian Stan? Did anybody else notice that? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But other than that, guys, I wasn't sitting there mad at this show. It was what it was. It was a what if, so it doesn't really mean shit. You know what I mean? It was just a nice little distraction for a little over 30 minutes or so. You know what I mean? And that's basically what I got out of it. It was okay. It was cool. I look forward to seeing what else they come up with. The animation, I did like it. It was cool. It was all right. So, I think that is probably about all I have to say about this. The Watcher, by the way, the voice they had coming out of The Watcher was not at all the voice that's been living in my mind for all of these years. He sounded way too contemporary. He sounded way too of the earth. I needed something just a little bit more otherworldly. You know what I'm saying? But that's not what we got. So, these are all constructive criticism type things, but ultimately I did enjoy it. It was cool. Of course, that means that, it doesn't mean that I don't have my criticisms of it, but for what it was, okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next. Well, what did you guys think? Did you watch What If, the Marvel series? You know what I mean? The animated series. What did you think about it? Get in the comment section. Let me know. As always, you can like, you can share, and you can subscribe. Thank you for listening, guys. I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.